Hello, third graders. Welcome back to art class. So for today, the materials you will need are a pencil, make sure it has an eraser, and a pen. You can always grab an extra eraser, keep it to the side. Our practice textures we are also going to want handy. And our texture book. I have two because I had made one in class, but most of ours look like this one. Awesome, so let's get started. So for today, we're only going to focus on one of our textures. Probably one of the ones that we circled. That was our favorite. So I think I'm going to work on this texture for today's class. I'm going to grab my book and we are going to focus on craftsmanship today. Does anyone know what craftsmanship means? It means that we're making sure we're taking extra time and care into our work. So I'm going to blow that image up onto my paper. So we're going to fill in the whole page with our texture, okay? So it's going to be a little challenging, but that's why we're going to start with a pencil. If we make any mistakes, we can easily erase it and nothing is locked in. So when using a pencil for sketching, make sure you don't press too hard. Otherwise, we're actually going to make a texture on our paper and it's going to leave a permanent indent. So we're going to press nice and lightly and start filling in our page. Making sure to take your time, okay? We do not need to rush putting all of these textures into our book. We want to make sure that our book comes out amazing, exactly how we want it. So just take your time and plan out how you are going to expand your practice onto the book. So I decided I was going to make my circles a little bit larger. That way I could get this page done in a class period. If I had kept the dots super tiny like I did on my practice, I think it would take me a couple hours to fill this whole page. So some of you guys were practicing some ice cream cone textures. I just want you to think, how am I going to spread that out onto my whole page? How am I going to make that little triangle onto my whole page? Okay, so that's our goal, is to fill the entire page. So I sped it up because it did take me a while. And I drew all of my circle texture. I named it Bumpy. I put Bumpy on the top of my page. And here it goes. So it looks pretty good, not too bad. And now, since I like how everything looks, now is our time to go over it in our pen. So the pen is going to lock it in place. We won't be able to go back after we put our pen on because it's permanent. You can use marker, but the only issue is it might bleed onto the page behind. So if you don't have a pen and you only have marker, then just make sure to put a piece of paper behind your first page. That way the marker doesn't bleed to all of the rest of our pages. So here I am going over my lines with my pen and filling it in. Notice how I'm taking my time, really making sure I love the circles I'm putting down. Checking the placement, referring back to my textures. Now, maybe your texture is scratchy like the one I have to my left. In that case, you might want to use a ruler or the edge of your paper to make your lines nice and straight. So make sure you're using tools around you and try your best to make it as neat as possible. Great, now we have our texture. I'm just going in and erasing any of the pencil marks that might be peeking out from beneath our pen. making sure it looks nice and finished, focusing on our craftsmanship. And whoa, that texture almost looks like it feels bumpy. Notice how when we fill a large space with our texture, it really comes to life. So that's it for today. We're really just going to focus on making our texture perfect, going in, refining it, getting rid of those pencil marks. And then next class, we will move on to our next texture, okay? So I want everyone to have a great time doing this. Take your time, no rush, and post a picture on Schoology after today's class, okay? I want to see how far we all got. I am so excited to see our textures and see how they're all different from one another. Have a great time, artists.